you know, you can kind of, he has a certain style. Um, Usually artists, a lot of his work is self-portraiture, so that kind of helps. Bearded guy.
Is it okay to just remember their last name or maybe first name?
It'd be fine, but it'd be nice if you know. Okay, this is, I guess, a few historical.
Roman.
This is Roman. It is Roman. How are you gonna remember that?
That color.
Yeah, they did the press molds here. Let's go back one. This is, you know, I think a good example of what you might see. It's press molded and it's got the terra sigillata, so you get that kind of reddish, waxy finish. Going in Etruscan, Greek, very good. The red on black or the black on red is usually Greek, unless it's somebody ripping them off. And hopefully the imagery would also tip you off.
No.
Huh? Yeah, these kind of oceanic themed decorations typically would fall into, you know, I mean they did other things, but it was pretty distinctive work. Yeah, this is Egyptian paste piece. It's an Egyptian piece. They did other things, but it's good for you guys to know that this is an Egyptian piece. Okay, we're back to more contemporary. Beatrice Wood, remember, the lusterware. Yeah, I don't know how, to me there's a certain look about her work. I don't know what it is. These little, I mean, I guess there's a lot of kind of chalice type forms. They're simple type forms, but with the lusterware, it reads as Beatrice Wood all the way. Okay. Very contemporary. That's Tom Coleman. I don't know. I mean, he's on the borderline of not being that historical, but he did have, huh?
That he's getting up there.
He's getting old. That's true, and I'll tell him he said so. But he, you know, I think remember, kind of in the 1960s and 70s, he was one of the few Americans that was really pushing porcelain, and that's probably why he has the recognition that he does. Okay, how about this? Maria Martinez. There she is. Working the Pookie. That's not what it sounds like. Okay, who's this? You should know. I tried to pick. Some of her work is, I think, kind of generic looking, and she, I think, generated a lot of, you know, just, I don't know, simple pieces. But I think this feather design is one that I think of it as kind of being a Maria Martinez original. So I put a couple of those in. But the blackware is definitely good. Yeah. Anyway, okay, back moving on. Adrian Sachs. I mean, you guys, I don't know why. I think I just found a lot of good images, or at least ones that I was interested in. So I heard him plop them in here. This, I think, is newer work, so I was kind of excited to grab it. But you know, his work is, I mean, it's pretty distinctive. Most of his work, there he is. You know, if you see these real finely crafted forms on these rocky or kind of more organic bases, you know, that's an Adrian Sachs. And well, I mean, or someone ripping him off like I've done in the past. So yeah, Adrian Sachs. Okay, moving back. I just do my presentation and in time. Paul Soldner.
And it was out of that show he did when he was like 88.
What's that?
Was this out of that show he did when he was?
Well, we did watch a video, and it was more of a retrospective. And I would say this work, I have no idea. He's probably all over the place. But this is probably made in like the 80s or 90s. Just that was kind of his phase. There he is. Any of this, and this is similar to what some of you guys have been doing with the stagger firing, it's just low fire salt. And, just kind of fumes the surface. More of his work. Oh, wait. Let's see if you guys remember this is. Yeah, this one, I don't know why this one seems like it's walking right out of the blue. Yeah, this is Warren McKenzie. Remember, most of his stuff is real functional type pots. I don't know a good way to describe it without sounding maybe. His work is very, I think, kind of utilitarian. Bells or whistles. Okay. Don Wright, these are the T-stacks. I think I got a few of these kind of to show you. But, a lot of this work has that kind of skirted piece. And the way he's making it is he kind of throws up the bottom, throws it on the wheel. And then he throws the skirt portion as a bowl form, turns it over and kind of plops it on there and cuts that edge that's kind of hanging there and then builds up from there. Usually the top on these, he throws the bottom two sections and the top usually just takes a big log of clay, shoves something like a broom handle in it, and just rolls it out and sticks it on, and that's that. But most of these are pretty large. There he is, making something like that. That would be, that'd be Don Wright's probably in the 80s. Kind of got, yeah, with big muscles. I was always amazed at, even like, I'd see his workshop and he's like 60, 70 years old and his arms are like huge. Like, this guy is for real. But, turns out that you don't stay big and strong at all. Reminder. Who's this? This is a Warren McKenzie piece. Like I said, nothing too fancy. Pretty straightforward. Meg, can you help us on this? I think you're right. The Dango form, kind of what, he's done everything from, he's done a lot of work in glass. We just saw some stuff with theater, but in ceramics, he's done some other things, but what he's most known for are these Dango type forms. So, he does all kinds of stuff as far as decoration on these, but they're usually pretty geometric type decorations, but the Dango is his thing. Okay, let's see if these are. I was just gonna say, Ken Price and Ron Nagel, they have a little overlap, but I'll try not to confuse you. This is Ron Nagel's work.
Okay.
Remember, Ken Price did work well, Ken Price, I'm not going to confuse you. Ken Price's work, most of what I'm going to show you is probably the work that I think is most important in his career, and that is those big organic forms with the acrylic paint. Ken Price did do some small cup type forms, which I think inspired Ron Nagel, but the way you know is Ken Price's almost always have little snails and stuff crawling around. I don't know if I have any of those. This is Ron Nagel, okay? But remember, Ron Nagel, these small kind of cup forms, he calls this a cup, and I guess it is, if he says so. But crazy glazing, that's probably what you need to know. So this is, I guess, not a cup, but small scale, this is probably only a few inches tall, but, some pretty interesting things to glaze with. Okay, who's this?
Duckworth.
Ruth Duckworth, good. I think I got a few Duckworths.
Great.
Good work. You guys, you getting all this? No? This is Ken Ferguson. Most of his work would be similar to this. Or at least I think the work that he is most known for. Obviously, the other things in green rabbit pieces, but this is the work that he probably gets the most recognition for. So, okay, we just talked about this. Who's this? Ken Price. Good. Good. Adrian Sachs. Duckworth, this is a little mixed up, which is good. How about this one? You guys struggled with this one the other day. Yeah? Stephen the Stabler. How are you going to remember that one?
Because it's a stable in quick play.
Yeah, good. Elise is going to take care of all your study guides for you, the study aids. Okay, there's Stephen the Stabler. How about this one? I'm not trying to confuse you because it's a portrait of an important artist by an important artist.
Hold on.
This is Robert Arnstein's work. It is a portrait of Pollock. Okay. Zach, how can you tell? What do you think? He does do some kind of little additions, usually the fancy glazing kind of sense. Who? Beatrice, good. Price. I'd like to hear something from the back. Kind of this one. Ken Price. This is another Ken Price. Remember, if it looks like it's acrylic paint, it probably is acrylic paint. It's probably done by Ken Price. This is another painting. Not that you couldn't get glazed like that. Okay, good. John Mason. And I think I didn't do a very good job mixing these up, but I will. This is, yeah, X's, stacks, or rocky walls could be John Mason. So there's an X, so that's John Mason. Oh, I threw another one in. I think we just saw that. Stephen the Stabler, because he's what, Elise? He's Stabler. Soldner, if you look for the shoe print, that should give it away. John Mason, that's probably his most significant piece. The red X, that's a large scale piece. Ken Price, good. This is focus. Yeah, he calls them, yeah. I'm not really sure why. I'm sure there is a reason. How about this? This would have been Focus's buddy. This is audio, Rudy Audio. It says right on the bottom, although it's hard to read. Cedar Vocus, these. That's a Vocus platter. They have a certain look. In sizing and the kind of pressing out from the back should be a sign. Okay, here's a tough one. Yep, Marguerite Wildenhain. And I don't know how her work looks like that. I don't know what to tell you. It's pretty. I could find some other imagery, but it all looks a bit the same. Bernard Leach. Remember watching him paint this tree on the video we watched. That's why I put that one in. And his best buddy, Shoji Hamada. So, yep. I'm not going to trick. I mean, those. I could probably fool you by putting on what.
Are you going to talk us on that?
If I can tell, I won't. But if it's just a bunch of random letters and you say, well, it's supposed to say probably. I need to be able to recognize it somehow. Okay, we should know this after today. Adelaide Road. Good. The Scarab vase. How much does it sell for? 160? 162,000 in 2000. That seems like a ripping deal. I wish I had that kind of money. Yeah, I would have bought it for that. Okay, how about this? John Mason doing one of his wall pieces, murals. Beatrice, looking cool. No, Mason. That, remember, the X's, these stack forms, and remember, I don't know if this will help you remember, but he felt like the reason he was doing these is he saw other sculptors using armatures and building with oil-based clay, and he like, well, why don't I do that with water-based clay? And there are some shrinkage issues that come into play, but he was able to use a similar armature to build these tall stacked forms, and that was, I guess, considered revolutionary at the time. Did something a little bit new. So stacked forms, the murals, the X's. That would be amazing. Okay, going forward or backwards. That's Vulcus looking angry.
Focus looking happy.
Yes, maybe. John Mason. Remember, Vulcus and Mason were kind of contemporaries, and they definitely, they probably influenced each other more than they even realized, because they shared a studio and probably spent a lot of time together working. So, okay, here's an old picture of somebody. If you can see, there's kind of some human form in that piece, which is supposed to be a clue. Stephen the Stabler. That's an old picture of him. Robert Arneson, good. Vulcus with his cigar, and that's what I put that in there so you can maybe tie the person with those pieces, those chunky ice bucket pieces. Remember the tie. He's wearing a tie making pots, probably an Englishman. Bernard Leach. That's Homina.